Thank you so much. I have the opposite problem that Penny had, so but thank you. My name's Isaac, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm a faculty member at Indiana University, where I direct our cybersecurity and global policy program. I'm also the director of the IU Cybersecurity Clinic. All of my work and my research focuses on workforce development, the future of work, and particularly controlling the negative effects of emerging technology. I'm running to make sure that America is true to what it's said on paper. And I think that in order for that to be the case, I'm absolutely persuaded that for our inalienable, self-evident rights to be fulfilled, that we need a second set of rights. And amongst those is the right to a good-paying job, and the right to organize, and the right to health care, for example. I believe that all Americans have the right to contribute to our workforce and to have quality working conditions. I know that our country is strongest when we have a vibrant middle class, and that we must protect our labor communities. All workers deserve the right to negotiate for proper pay, safe working conditions, and the benefits that they deserve. And so I support the power of workers to organize and bargain collectively. To me, policy is and always will be personal. I'm a cancer survivor still undergoing treatment, and I know firsthand what it's like to not be able to afford my medication. I know firsthand what it's like to wonder whether or not I can pay for my groceries because in the richest country in the world, our health care is too expensive. And so with that and with all other things, policy always is and always will be centered on people. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Matt Fife. I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in the 9th District. I am a public school teacher. I'm a father of 3 little ones. Yeah, we can clap that, yeah. Father of 3 little ones, and I'm also a leader in my labor union. I'm really happy to see everybody here tonight. I'm happy that the Democratic Party and Labor is working together to throw this event, that we're here to listen to candidates and to speak to what's going on here in our district. As a father of 3 and as a teacher and as a leader in my labor union, sometimes I'm asked, why are you doing this? Why are you running for Congress? And the answer is simple. It's because I look around and I look at my neighbors and I look at what's happening at the federal level. I look at our policymakers who are there, and they just don't seem like everyday people. They seem like they're getting there through money and through influence, through power, and they seem like they're making the decisions on those same aspects. Right. We need to send people to Congress who are everyday people, who do want to look after their kids, who have built an entire career on public service, who wake up every day and go work for the students and the neighbors that they are around. And so again, my name's Matt Fife. That's why I'm running for Congress. And I'm very excited about it. There's some energy around this campaign. There's some energy around this campaign because this is an open house seat. Right. We have the ability to take this back in the Democratic Party. This is Lee Hamilton's seat. Yeah. And we need to get out there and work for it. We need to get excited. I know 2020 was a hard campaign, but we can get out there and do this and flip this seat. Good.
Protecting the right to organize Act, also known as the PRO Act, has already passed the House of Representatives, but is stalled in the Senate. If the PRO Act or similar legislation were to come before the House again, would you support it? Why or why not?
I support the PRO Act, and I do support similar legislation that might become before the House. So I grew up in a labor household. My dad was a railroad worker and a union organizer for 45 years. And I didn't know it growing up. You know, we weren't rich, but looking back, we were well taken care of. It's because he had good wages. When my mom got sick, when she had to have surgery on her arm, we didn't worry about going into debt because we had good benefits. And nowadays, they actually live here in Bloomington. They moved recently, and they have a good retirement. They are dignified in their retirement. And I've seen that throughout life. And as a current leader in my labor union, I fight for those same things: good wages, good benefits, good retirement. And I'm going to do the same thing as a congressperson. But I want to say that I'm not only putting my words behind this, our campaign also puts our action, our time and our money behind this. All of our campaign literature is union bought because we need to support unions. We have spent the time speaking with labor leaders, speaking with workers throughout this district, touring facilities here in Bloomington and Evansville, seeing how the training that goes into organizing in a union directly impacts the community members. And we're excited about doing that. And lastly, we are backed by a union. The Transportation Division of SMART has backed us, and so we're proud to say that yes, we're going to support the PRO Act, we're going to support other legislation similar to it, because we are the campaign, and we are a campaign that supports labor. Thank you.
The question is simple, and the answer is simple. Absolutely. We must pass the PRO Act. And if it stalls in the Senate and we have to reintroduce it, I will proudly co-sponsor the PRO Act. And the reasons are straightforward. Simply because it starts to address these so-called right-to-work laws at the federal level. It brings the ability of the federal government to address people who have broken labor laws. It gives them the ability to actually, gives them the teeth to actually address those things. It also makes it very clear that everyone has the right to organize. And so that's why I support the PRO Act. It's really that simple to me. I'll say it.
How would you address the high cost of pharmaceuticals in America or otherwise improve healthcare?
Yeah, thank you. So to me, this is the core of our campaign. In the long term, I think that what we need in this country is a single-payer health system. Realistically, the reasons why our health costs, and particularly our pharmaceutical costs, are so high is because of a market failure. We have too many people in our economy, namely pharmaceutical companies that have the incentive to price gouge, and private insurance companies that are rent seekers. What I mean by rent seeking is that private insurance companies take a piece of the pie and they add nothing to it. We can do better. And so in the long run, what I think we need to be working towards is a single-payer healthcare system. Now, in the short run, there's a lot of things that we can do to address the prices of pharmaceuticals. One is allow Medicare to negotiate collectively for the cost of pharmaceuticals. The second is to make sure that copay cards are counted as a matter of law in every single private insurance plan. But ultimately, what we really need to do is work towards a single-payer healthcare system that will ensure that everybody still has choice of doctors, that you still have choice of healthcare providers, but most importantly, that everybody gets their healthcare as a right. This is personal to me. Like I said, I have leukemia. My chemotherapy costs $13,500 a month. And so if you're interested in somebody who's going to vote as though their own life depended on it, well, that's me. And Jefferson said that we ought to have representatives who were totally dependent on and thoroughly acquainted with the needs of the people of their district. And when it comes to healthcare, that's me. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, healthcare is messed up in this country, isn't it? My son is now 8 years old, but when he was 2 days old, we had taken him home from the hospital, and he was less than 5 pounds. And we went to this checkup, 48-hour checkup, and the doctor says, hey, his temperature is a little low. I'm just deciding if we're going to rush you to the hospital in an ambulance or if you're going to drive yourself. And my first thought should have been, wow, my son is going to the hospital, and yet my first thought was ambulances are expensive. Right. And that's not right. And we hear that every day. It's not just my family. It's not just the neighbors. I think we are all affected by this. And so what can we do about pharmaceutical costs? Yeah, we can let Medicare negotiate, right? That's going to lower them right away. We can cap insulin prices and other drugs so that it's not going up faster than inflation. We can make sure that we are being transparent and with the costs of these drugs, so that not only consumers know what they're getting into, but so that doctors and nurses who are prescribing these know the costs up front. We can help our healthcare system, but we need to put people in place who are willing to do it. and who are willing to make these choices. And I think it's clear, I'm going to say both of us up here, it's very clear that we're willing to do that because it is personal, because the policies we put in place affect our neighbors. And we have to put better policies in place so that our neighbors can be taken care of.
Candidate 5, what are your thoughts on increasing the federal minimum wage?
We need to increase the federal minimum wage. It's been, over 13 years now, something like that, almost 15. I spoke with somebody just recently, a voter down in Clark County, so down by the river. And she works at a school, works in the cafeteria. She's been there over 15 years and is just now making $14 an hour. You look at our minimum wage, I'm a math teacher, I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't always mention math because sometimes people recoil. But I did some calculations before coming up here. If you take the minimum wage and you work 40 hours a week and then you work 4 weeks a month or so, it's just over $1,100. And if you think about the cost right now of gas and of groceries, you think about housing, how education has gone up, how all of these costs have gone up over the past 15 years, and yet we're not taking care of the people who are working right here in our community. We need to raise the federal minimum wage. We need to provide living wages for people when possible. We also need to make sure that we're addressing the issues so that it's easier to live, so that we can address housing, so that we can address education. And so I think we can address this from both sides. We can raise the minimum wage, but also make it easier to live on others. Thank you.
So impressive.
Candidate Sullivan,
As a basic principle, no American should be working 40 hours a week and not be able to afford to live in the United States of America. We are the richest country that has ever existed on planet Earth in history, and yet our people are not the richest, and that's a problem. We can address that. Now, one of the chief ways that we can do that is by raising the federal minimum wage. But there's a lot of other things that we can do by creating universal basic services, for example. Again, securing the right of workers to organize collectively. We've noticed that through the pandemic, that all these places like McDonald's, who said they weren't going to raise the minimum wage because it would ruin their business model, all it took was a couple of workers saying, I'm not coming to work, for them to go, we'll pay you $18 an hour to flip burgers. And so if McDonald's can do that just because some workers asked for it, anyone can. And so we live in a country where we need to start thinking about what's possible, stop thinking about what we can't do, because in America we can do anything that we put our minds to.
thank you both for speaking tonight. If you could please provide a closing statement, you have a minute and a half. Candidate 5.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, for listening to the candidates, and for being involved in your community. I want to thank the organizers of the event. I said this at the beginning, but I think it is wonderful that the Democratic Party and Labor is working together. I think it's wonderful that we're putting events on like this so that we can inform the public. I also want to just reiterate how important this race is. It's an open house seat, and it really is a chance to flip this district back blue. If we energize people, if we get people signed up to vote, if we get out there and work hard, it is possible. And so I would encourage you to get out there, to start telling your friends, to start telling others to get up the energy and get out and vote, to get others to vote. And lastly, I would encourage you to go to mattfife.com, mattfyfe.com. You can learn more there. You can sign up to volunteer. You can donate, get a yard sign, all that good stuff. Again, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to meeting you all in the future and talking. I'll be around for a little bit after the event if you'd like to. Thank you.
You know, and to all the candidates here, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for organizing this. For all the candidates here particularly, Campaigning a lot of the time feels like, you're a single ant trying to move an elephant. Y'all ever feel that way? And then when the elephant's foot moves, you just realize that it just moved its own foot. But what I've noticed through campaigning, and we have in the last 3 weeks knocked on 2,800 doors. We have called 2,500 voters across this district. We've passed out over 500 personal cards and so on and so forth. We're meeting people where they are. And one thing that I've learned through doing all of this is that though a single ant cannot move an elephant, organized ants can. And when we work together as Democrats across this district, there is nothing that we cannot do. Now, I saw a lot of you think, no, it's not possible for ants to do anything to an elephant. Look it up on YouTube. You'll see it. It's really cool. But it is possible for organized ants to bring elephants to their knees. And so we have the opportunity to make real, lasting change, not just for this district, but for the United States of America. And if you'll join us and if we'll work together across, Matt and I have been saying it throughout the campaign. I'm not running against him. He's not running against me. We're running together for change because it's not about politics. It's about people. And if we keep people at the center of everything that we do, then change is going to come. Thank you so much.